today I am so excited to have my friend Jenny join us in the hot seat today. Jenny has been a force in the Huntsville community. I have learned so much about her as I have been preparing for our time here together. I thought I knew a lot of things about her, but I learned so much more. She has, if you are involved in things in Huntsville, you want to know what's going on, Jenny is the person you will find that out from. She is got her finger on the pulse of everything cool, interesting, and exciting going on here in Huntsville. So I am very happy to bring to the hot seat my friend Jenny Askins, and we're going to have our discussion and learn a little bit more about all the cool things that Jenny has going on. All right, so Jenny, you've got several companies, several things that you're doing. I learned a lot of things that I didn't know that you did. So tell me, first of all, I want to talk about Destination Huntsville, since that's the hot new thing going on right now.
Yeah.
Why did you start Destination Huntsville?
Well, and we began with Destination Huntsville instead of Geronimo, but it's really Geronimo's fault. So in doing Geronimo, which we can talk about that.
We're going to get to
when I was going around and talking to people about Geronimo, that's when I started learning about a lot of the needs and services that our hospitality industry needed. And so they would ask me for things. So I'm going out and I'm sharing Geronimo with hotels and the hospitality industry. And I'm telling them all the things that Geronimo provides. And they're saying, well, yeah, but can you do this? Can you do that? And I said, no, that's not what Geronimo does. And so I started realizing that there was a need for more services, which would be another business, which started last year. So during the pandemic, it gave me time to kind of put some of those pieces together and create that business and provide those services. So, and there's nothing like being able to provide a service for people that have been asking for it versus trying to convince them they need you.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about Destination Huntsville. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So and that was my next question. Was this something that Huntsville needed? I know Huntsville is. I've been here for 25 years now, and I've seen Huntsville change a lot. Huntsville is really growing up, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so, in comparing Huntsville and the entertainment and just the different things that are available, Huntsville as opposed to larger markets, this organization, this business really further put Huntsville more on par with some of those organizations, some of those other cities having, because I would assume some other cities have something like Destination Huntsville, but
absolutely do.
We didn't.
Right.
And so, so this is probably filling a really big gap and really closing that loop for Huntsville.
Absolutely, yeah. There's, we're growing, we're wanting to be as the mayor has said, he's not necessarily wanting to be the largest city, but the best city, so, and we want to be the best in Alabama. And so, as we have grown, the needs for new things have grown. And so, I know any of y'all can look around, driving around, and you see all the hotels that are being built.
Right.
Just think about just that piece of this city. Who is providing services for those hotels? I mean, they need resources too. We're building hotels so that conferences and groups and businesses will come to visit Huntsville as a destination, as a place where we're recruiting employees. We've got to have more employees for all these places we're building. What is supporting those hotels? Well, we need more restaurants. We need transportation. We need services such as tour guides and things like that. So that's when I started learning. I said, the services that all these hotels need, and just that one thing right there, just seeing those hotels, we need more.
Yeah. And so just looking at Destination Huntsville and the things that you're providing, who did you go after in trying to say, all right, I want you to buy into this? Was it the hotels? Was it the businesses holding conferences? Was it individuals needing, a group excursion?
Yeah.
How did you figure out which audience to go after and how to go after them?
Well, the best part of this for me, like I said, was them showing me and telling me what they needed. I mean, that's a dream. Because I've had a business before, so I had Geronimo before, and trying to explain to people what something is and why they need it, it's not easy. So it's just been a pleasure to have people say, we need this, and you're the one to do it. I had a hotelier sit down with me again. That's how all of this started. I blame her, and one day, I'll thank her publicly. But she said, I was telling her about Geronimo, and she was telling me what she needed, and she said, Huntsville needs a destination management company, and you're the one to do it. And she kind of took me by the hands and was like, you've got to do this. I was like, okay. And then I went home and I Googled destination management company. I said, all right, what is this thing of which she speaks? And she didn't know that. I kept a straight face all the time. I was like, okay, I can do this. I went home and Googled it and realized that most large cities have these. And so then I was like, okay, Atlanta has at least three DMCs, along with their CVB, Convention Visitors Bureau. So that clicked, and I didn't have to sell it to the hotels. I just had to let them know I was here. And once I shared, reached out to them, matter of fact, a lot of them reached out to me on LinkedIn when I put the press release out that I started the business. They reached out and they got it. Like, they knew immediately what a DMC was. I didn't have to convince them, where a lot of us didn't necessarily know. Yeah.
Right.
But the hospitality industry knows what a DMC is. And they were like, thank goodness, like, we needed you. And so,
wow. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
That does not happen.
No. I mean,
starting a business, the market is already there,
Exactly.
the people are already there. So this is such a great idea. How did you figure out how you're going to make it profitable? How was that piece of it?
I don't know how many people that start businesses are like this, but I think there's a little bit of a feeling of, I don't know if it's imposter syndrome or what, but like, who's going to pay me for this? Is somebody going to actually do that, or is this too much to charge? Is that, But last year gave me plenty of time to reach out to other DMCs and talk with them about their businesses. And they weren't as busy either, so they had the time to talk. So I just met with them, talked with them, did Zoom calls, and learned a lot about how they charge, how they work that. And so that's kind of how I did my research on setting up the business. And some things I like to just help with, some things it's just a call for me to make. And sometimes it's a little more time intensive, and then we charge a percentage on top of what the services are. So
And I think that's an important piece as you're starting a business and you're creating an industry here, figuring out that pricing, that's got to be
yeah.
a little nerve-wracking there.
It is. And I think too, that's something I think I'm having to overcome is the pricing. This, I don't know how far this will reach, but because again, especially when you're just starting out, you're like, when you do learn people are going to pay you, it's exciting, and you probably don't know your worth.
Yes.
And I think too, Huntsville has a very conservative spending level.
Yes. But the money is here.
It's here.
The money is
we
here.
just don't spend it
Right.
the same way, as some other cities, as Birmingham necessarily.
Right.
Places like that. So it's taken me a little bit to appreciate that I'm worth it, that I do have a service to offer, and I can do some things quickly where it would take other people a long time to figure out. And also that people visiting are willing to pay because that's their time. And either they're going to do the research or they can hand it over to me and I've done it.
Yeah.
So.
And something that was surprising, I tell you when we got here, I signed up to go to Cyber Huntsville, the Cyber Summit. And I'm on the website looking at different things that are going to be happening on the Cyber Summit, and I'm scrolling, and then I see excursions. It's like, I clicked on it, and where did I go? Destination Huntsville.
Yeah.
So that's one of your target audiences,
Absolutely,
events that are going on. So how do you select those target audiences? How do you find out about what's going on, and who do I pitch to, and how did that pitch go with Cyber Huntsville?
Again, the best part of this business has been the need. And so when I put the press release on LinkedIn, because there really, there's no newspaper, where do you send the press release? So I put it on LinkedIn. That day I had 6 hotels reach out, and the National Cyber Summit director reached out and asked, you know, can you start coming to the committee meetings and sitting in, and we'll figure out what you can help with. And I said, this is crazy. I called my business partner. I said, we're going to need a bigger boat. You know, this is nuts. And so I started showing up for the committee meetings with the National Cyber Summit, and anytime they struggled with how do we find this or how do we get that, I'd be like, I can do that. You know, we need security for this event. I know I have a contact. I need a musician for this, you know, for background music. I can do that. And then it was, we want to have some things that people can do after the conference, suffering from conference fatigue. Like, how can we show them pieces of Huntsville after hours? I was like, I can absolutely do that. So we created an underground cocktail tour. We did, created a rock and rooftop music tour. We have a tacos and tequila tasting, and we have a beer barbecue experience. So it gives we were hoping to give some of the local flavor to people visiting. And we've had people from Utah sign up, and Montana and Orlando. I mean, this is a national conference with a lot of people coming to visit, and we want to show off Huntsville in its best light and make them want to come back.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned Atlanta has 3 of these type of organizations. I'm from Atlanta, and so when I went to the National Cyber Summit website and I saw that, it's like, this has an Atlanta feel to it, and I was like, wow, this is my new little town that's doing big stuff, and my friend is at the center of it. So that was really cool to see, and you know, I love Huntsville. It's got so much to offer, and yeah, we do have a lot of smart people here. We do have rocket scientists here, but we're real people too, and we can have real fun. And you are showing that on a very high level. So you can have good grown fun.
Right, yeah, exactly. Well, you know, so we're doing a hospitality room for the Cyber Summit, and one of our sponsor is a smart place. So, and I was thinking through, and I thought, yeah, that's it. We want it. I think a lot of people already know we're a smart place, but we want people to know we're a fun place too. Right. So, and that's what we try to do, is share the fun.
Yeah, well, that is cool. So we've talked about Geronimo. So tell us a little bit about that business, and that's kind of where I first really encountered you. I remember we were at an Innovate Huntsville planning meeting, and you were still with leadership. We'll talk about that a little, but you were talking about this idea of a tour company. So tell me about Geronimo and how that idea came about, and what that company is.
So Geronimo is an online marketplace for locals to share private tours and exclusive excursions. And so I would hear all these people visiting Savannah or Charleston, different smaller cities similar to us, that would go on these food tours or walking tours or different things like that. And I just thought, Huntsville should have that. And we do have some of it spread out, seasonal, that's kind of thing. I just thought we could have more. And let's try to provide that. I started doing a little research on some other companies that were sort of similar. There was a company called Vayable, and there was a company called Tours by Locals. And I did my research on those, and they provided an opportunity for locals to get on this marketplace platform and provide tours where people could book. And they were all in different cities. These were national companies and international companies, but nobody had Huntsville listed. They were all just larger cities. And I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to become a franchise of those companies then. I'll just create my own. So I created Geronimo. It's mine, the logo, I'm working on the trademarking right now. But it's mine, and it is a platform for locals to share things. So I reached out to some of my leadership connections that I knew were doing really interesting things. I always say everybody in Huntsville has a unique story, has something interesting they do. There's so many engineers, there's so much creativity in the city. Reached out to them and asked them if they would help me get started by providing something. And we did. We had history walking tours, we had wine tastings, we had food tastings, we have hikes on Monsanto. We have one of my favorite things, and one of our best sellers is a group of mostly retired pilots here in Huntsville, and they have something, they belong to a soaring club, and they fly glider planes, engineless airplanes. And so you can go on Geronimo and book a flight with in a soaring plane, and you can even work to get your license if you'd like to expand on that. But that book's at least probably once a week. People enjoy that, and we would not know it's there.
Wow,
except for trying to pull these things out.
So are the tours in Geronimo, are they all tours that you and your team organize, or is it kind of like a holding place for other people to post their tours?
Yes. Think of it like Etsy or Airbnb.
Okay.
If you want to create a profile and want to share something, just say you want to take people kayaking or alligator hunting at Joe Wheeler. So you can get in touch with me, and I'll help you walk through it. Still, I still have to help people. You create a profile, create your product. My site has a booking calendar for you and a payment thing, so that all you have to do is the fun part. You don't have to worry about the booking and the payment and all that. So if someone does that, then they mark their dates, and then someone can go online, book their date, make their payment. The payment is set up to go directly to the vendor, the person providing the experience, and they get notified that someone is booked.
Yeah.
And then they're on their own.
You literally have something for everybody.
Try.
I looked on the, I try to do my research beforehand. So I went to Geronimo's website and looked at the different tours that you have. And I like hanging out with friends and having a good time and going to these things. Wine tours look so much fun. They look like so much fun, but I don't drink. I saw something on your website on Geronimo. I love coffee. I can be considered a coffee snob sometimes because my husband and I, we love coffee and all kinds of different types of coffee.
Yeah.
And you have something like that?
I do.
Who knew?
So fun. Yeah, we did that last night, which is kind of funny. I have to get up early in the morning, but at 4 o'clock I was doing a coffee tasting at Dragon's Forge Cafe, and it was fabulous. They did such a great job. I think that is one of our hidden gems in Huntsville. Again, not everybody knows about it. And they did 4 kinds of coffee. They had a medium roast, a cold brew, a latte, and a banana nut bread latte.
Oh my
And it was
goodness.
just, and then they paired it with pastries. I'm like, this is so cool.
It really is. I was like, man, I so wanted to be able to do that.
We'll do it again.
Hopefully I'll do that again.
Yeah.
But that just went to show, that just goes to show you have something for everyone. And that just, so Geronimo is geared, is that more for locals wanting to find something to do? Is that the primary audience for Geronimo?
Well, it has been, especially during COVID, because people weren't really traveling, but they were kind of looking for something fun local to do. So, so that kept me alive last year because nobody was visiting. But when I started back in 2019, for the few months I was open before the pandemic, we were having people from Montgomery and Coleman and Florence and across the state were coming to visit and do things. So that was exciting to me. And my whole goal again was to branch into the hotels and let them know I'm here if you need me. And then I said they told me about other services they needed. So I'm hoping it expands, and I'd like to continue to kind of put all the tours and experiences under the same umbrella so everybody can find everything. That's what I felt like was a little bit of a thing. It's like if I wanted to find a tour, I might find it here or there, but if I didn't know what to Google, I wouldn't necessarily be able to find it. So,
And now that I'm into that stage where my kids are grown, they're out of the house, got a little bit more free time, so finding cool, fun things to do. I'm going to be in Toronto. So I was mentioning in your introduction that you are very well connected in the city of Huntsville. You've been doing a lot of things in your resume. There's Leadership Huntsville, there's the Trash Pandas, there's lots of really cool things. So tell me about your time with leadership and how that came about and how that has helped your professional trajectory.
Leadership Huntsville changed my life. I mean, that was the whole fork in the road where it just was just the best. I was fortunate enough to be in a position where I was nominated to be in one of the classes. And I went through their young professional class, which is the Connect program for those 40 and below at the time. They may have changed that. And it was the first exposure I had to things I never knew about. So many people go through a leadership class and are like, I've lived here all my life and I never knew this existed. And that's what I was kind of doing, that aha moment. And there was also this piece, and I hear this a lot, where people get in the class and they sit in the room and they look around and they go, I don't belong here. How did I get here? Because there's just so many amazing people in there. And you don't consider yourself one of them.
Right,
You had to apply and stuff. And so going through that program is just amazing. I mean, you can't unlearn that. So afterwards, I was a volunteer, because they always ask you to come back as a volunteer. And then as soon as a position opened for the alumni program director, I was just, Sarah Savage was the CEO at the time, and bless her, I stalked her. I was just like, this is mine, this is me, this is what I have, I have to be here.
Yeah.
And was fortunate enough for her to hire me, and just loved it. And was the alumni director, the leadership program director, directed focus, did some of their marketing stuff. I was there for about 7 years before I left. So, but it's just amazing. And if any of you have not been through a program, it's just so worth checking out. I've been gone for about 3 years now, and I still just sing their praises.
Yeah, that's one of my professional to-do list items. Want to be a part of a future leadership class, and it's on my goal list for within the next 3 years. I'll go through leadership. But that's how I first became aware of you, and just seeing all the things that you were doing. Leadership hit my radar because of you. So being in that Innovate Huntsville meeting, and I saw the list of people that was going to be there. I saw you were going to be there. I was like, wow, this is my opportunity to get to know her and get to learn a little bit about leadership, because I love connecting. I love networking. You learn so much about people and things that you have access to, and leadership is just a perfect catalyst for that.
It is, and you meet somebody from just every sector, every facet of Huntsville.
Yeah.
Because of the diversity of it all. It's 52 community leaders in each class, and they try to pull someone from, an attorney, a realtor, a banker, a nonprofit director, an elected official, so you're just meeting across the board of everything.
And being an employee working as a team member for leadership, you get to get ingrained into those classes, and those classes, those cohorts are so tight-knit, and they are continuing those networking relationships even after they finish leadership. And I think that's just such a beautiful thing. And so I can't wait till I'm at a position where I can do that. It's more about time now for me, finding the time to do that. But after you left leadership, you moved on from leadership, the ball club came calling. How did that happen? Tell us about your experience with Trash Canvas. Because it was before even it was named Trash Canvas.
That's right, yeah. So I was at leadership, and they kind of poached me. They were looking for people in the community that could help them kind of get acclimated. The owner, the managing owner, was from Vermont, and so he didn't know anyone and really needed somebody to kind of show him around and help him get acclimated, he and his wife. So so they brought me in as community engagement to start with, and to help with their events. And so we did it was me. It was
but it's so kind of you to say we.
Yeah. So and a lot of great people that helped out, but knew who to call and contact and stuff. But we did the groundbreaking event, which was mind blowing and unexpected. And then we did the Name the Team contest, and then we did the unveiling event out at Dublin Park. So did a lot of events and all of that. And so I've been there a little while, and what I learned about minor league baseball, or about starting the Trash Canvas, was it really was a startup, even though you think baseball's been here forever. It started at ground zero with, we own a ball team, but what are we going to do with them? They don't have a name, at this point. We're not going to do that. We're building a stadium. And so there was that piece for a year of just the grind of it all. You're trying not to spend too much money because you're not playing yet.
Right.
So you don't want to hire a lot of people. So you got me, and you got the owner, and maybe, we're slowly bringing more people in. So So that is the piece that I learned for starting Geronimo, and the other things was that entrepreneurship. I just started kind of taking note of the process. And if I can compare everything I did at Trash Cans to how I did it at Geronimo, doing the logo and just the whole creativity of that, that piece of it, it was the same. I mean, on a larger scale, but it was the same thing. So,
yeah, and so I can see how, you became the face of leadership when you were there. People saw you, they thought about leadership and all the connections that people were going to be able to have. And I think you brought that same sense to being a part of the Trash Pandas team. It was a true sense of community. People can feel how they want to feel about the name, but the community came together.
Yeah.
And I feel like you were at the heart of that. You weren't the face of that, but you were at the heart of that. And that, again, goes to the point of you have your finger on the pulse of things going on in Huntsville. You are a person we need to get to know. So Jenny is well connected, and I really appreciate that. And that leads me to my next thing I want to talk to you about. You obviously have a heart for this community. Why, with your skill set, with the things that you can do and what you've done, why stay in Huntsville and do that? You could have, I am sure, easily gone to a larger market to take your skill set with you, but why was it important for you to stay here and do all of those things?
I thought that was such an interesting question that you asked. I've never been asked that before, and I thought, I would never even consider leaving. It's just, not even, and I thought, would that have been a thing? But no, I love Huntsville. I love the people, and the people are Huntsville, and that's what feeds me. Everybody I met at leadership, my first question is always, because everybody says, what do you do? But I would say, what do you do for fun? And that's when you really learn about who people are and what they enjoy. And you can tell, too, their face would light up about, oh, let me tell you what I do for fun, because they like talking about that. But that's what's just so amazing with that. Like, everybody has a story. It's so interesting. I wouldn't need to go anywhere else. I can meet those people here, on my stomping ground. But, I couldn't do anything that I've done if I hadn't just enjoyed it so much. And it's the people. It's beautiful here.
It really is. Yeah. So you're from Huntsville. Is this your home? Huntsville is home for you.
I was born about 2 hours outside of Huntsville, and or a little further south, Madison. But I've been here since the early '80s, and I just love it. And I've loved watching it grow. I love knowing people. I'm one of those kind too. Like I like knowing who to call and something. When I need to reach out to somebody. I can't imagine going somewhere new and having to start all over again. So I like having friends and people I know and being able to go to the grocery store. And don't come home for an hour because you're busy visiting.
So your professional career didn't always start out entrepreneurial. You were in working for other companies. You were an employee. Was entrepreneurial adventure, was that always a part of the plan, or that just kind of happened? How did that come about for you?
I was fascinated by entrepreneurs. I just thought they were like Peter Pan or something like that. Like, what do they do? Like, how do they do that? I remember the first one I met, he was in my leadership class, and he was telling me he was an entrepreneur. And what he would do was he would, people would invest in his business ideas and things. The part I could not get over was asking him where his office was. And he would say, I don't have an office. And I go, well, where do you work? And it just I just could not get through that. And it's the silliest thing now. He was like, well, I have my cell phone and my laptop. And I'm like, yeah, but where do people visit you? It was so silly. But, I just remember that feeling of that. And so ever since then, it just seems like it's come up more and more, especially in Huntsville. And we've had different people come through that have tried to create incubators and do some things. And in one sense, I think it's been hard for some of us to get it. It's taken a long time. But I think Huntsville is finally starting to get the hang of it. We have a lot of entrepreneurs and the value they bring here. It's starting to click. Gosh, it's been a hard road.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to ask you, because entrepreneurship, owning your own business, it is not the glamorous thing that some people who don't own their own business may think it is.
Yeah.
But that's you came from being an employee, a very high profile employee, to being a very high profile entrepreneur. That had to be a lot. What were some of the toughest things that you had to deal with on that transition?
Yeah. Well, a couple things, and I've heard this statement, and I think it's so true. As an entrepreneur is somebody that will work more than 40 hours to keep from working 40 hours for someone else.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, that's true. That's right. The other thing is it feels like it's constantly not knowing what you don't know. You know, it's like there were times after I created Geronimo when I was like, okay, now what do I do? I didn't know what to do. What do I need to be doing? And because I didn't really have anything else to look at either to compare. At least with Destination Huntsville, I can kind of reach around and to out to people and stuff. But with Geronimo, when it's something completely brand new, which a lot of entrepreneurs do create, you're like, okay, now what? I've got this thing, and and I've told everybody about it. Now what do I need to do? So that gets frustrating because I'm a go person. So I don't like sitting still.
Well, I just glanced at my watch and time has escaped us.
Oh.
It's already after now.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
This has been a great conversation. I had so much more that I have 3 pages of questions that I had to ask you. So hopefully we'll get a chance to reconvene and talk about some more things. But thank you so much for being a part of Rise today. I hope that everyone has gotten to know a little bit more about Jenny and the things that she's doing. I hope you'll take a look at Geronimo and Destination Huntsville. Some really, really cool things, and hang out for a little while, get to know Jenny, and we'll put your contact information in our follow-up email. But thank you so much for being here today. This has been truly fun. I really enjoyed it today. So thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
And thank you all for coming. This has been a fantastic event. Thank you, Jenny, for being our speaker for today. So hang out, there's coffee, there's pastries, and we will see you guys next time. Our next event is October 8th, right back here, so stay tuned for your emails on the website to find out more information about that. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful Friday.